NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. Woo!
As an adult, don't we all miss spring break? Nothing like taking a week off from all your responsibilities. Well, here's the next best thing for adults, a spring break from house payments. SaveWithConrad.com can help you get rid of all your credit card debt, just like that. We're routinely helping our listeners save $5, $6, $7, even $800 a month. And you don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket to do this, but check this out, no house payments for 2 months at SaveWithConrad.com.
Welcome to WHW Monday. Tony Schiavone and Conrad Thompson.
Jim Crockett First Arcade, 605 NWA. TV title, Cajun Omni, the Bunkhouse Stampede. Flair and Horsemen, Garvin, Bogey, Magnum, Dusty, Express Tag Team. Turner, Bond, Mid-South Joint World Championship Wrestling.
Talking about the great years of World Championship Wrestling, the NWA, and Jim Crockett Promotions.
Tony and Friends North, they win. Look, Schiavone's back again. World title split off center stage. Bischoff, Disney, Hogan, and Nitro. New World Order and the Crow. Thunder, Russo, Arquette, Champ, Vinnie, Mac, simulcast. Tony's back with Conrad, not your classy podcast. Watch along, try not to laugh. Lowest rules can't pass. This wasn't the initial plan. Tom Zigg's a good-looking man. Klondike Bill, make a chair. Tommy, you come over here.
What happened when? WHW Monday. And now, let's go to the ring. And here's your co-host. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to What Happened When? With the voice of your childhood, Tony Schiavone. Tony, what's going on, man? How are you?
Another great day here at the Bat Cave. It's good to be with you. It's good to be talking wrestling. And, we're going to go back, I guess, to the final year of Jim Crockett Promotions, right?
We are, man. It's going to be a fun show today. If you haven't already, get your peacock out and go ahead and type in World Championship Wrestling, Season 4, Episode 15. This is the fallout from the very first Clash of the Champions. Of course, they were head-to-head with WrestleMania 4. And speaking of WrestleMania, by the time you're listening to this, we all know what happened at WrestleMania. Tony and I, as we record this, do not. Tony's going to be on the left coast doing a little Ring of Honor action this past weekend as you're listening. And I was out there supporting a friend. So neither of us are home to record. So we're putting it in the can early, Tony, but I'm going to step out on a limb and say, man, that damn Vikingo Commander match was something else. And I sure do love Eddie Kingston. I feel like that's safe to say about the Ring of Honor show. And you?
I would agree on both counts. I really love Eddie Kingston. And give you an Eddie does listen to us.
Oh, well, I'll be even more complimentary. I didn't know he still listened. I was just, talking the way I feel, but now I'll start kissing his ass a little bit too,
Couple of Wednesdays ago, I got a text from him, and I'm sure he won't mind me saying this. I got a text from him that said 411 fuck sheet.
Dude, it's still one of the funniest things you've ever said on this show. I lost my shit. It was so good. By the way, I thought it was really cool that you guys on the official Ring of Honor channel had sort of a fan-made backstory video that was like 15 minutes long, explaining the history between Claudio and Eddie Kingston.
Yeah.
I think it's cool that we're able to, or that Tony is cool with telling stories that actually started 14 years ago on the independents.
Mm-hmm.
That wouldn't happen in other universes, pardon the pun. So it's really cool to see that. And I was so glad to see Eddie get a world title shot. And of course we all know now by now what happened. We also know that this past Wednesday, a week ago, as you're listening to this, we debuted AEW All Access. Yeah, a third AEW show. Tony, what should we expect from All Access?
Well, I think it's going to be based centered on Britt Baker and Adam Cole and their relationship, and also on the Young Bucks and their family life. And I did make a couple of cameo appearances in there, and then I decided that it probably wasn't my best interest to be in there on a regular basis. But you'll see me in there, and I think it's very, very unique. So I have not seen it as you and I are talking right now. I have not seen a screener of it. So I don't know exactly how it's going to be, but
Why, if you don't mind me asking, and I know we're on a slippery slope, we don't like to talk about current stuff, but why did you think it was in your best interest to not be on it?
because I'm in the front office and I just think that I need to just remove myself from any of that stuff. Let it be on the wrestlers and not the people that work there. Let it be about their lives.
But you were just going to be like a supporting cast member. It's not like they were going to follow you and Lois around, would they? Because if they were just going to follow Lois around, they could pretty much use a tripod, right?
Yeah, they could.
Just pivot. Just
They could do a time lapse thing.
Oh God, Lois in a time lapse. That's our space travel. That's our time travel. Lois in a time trap. I love it. Hey, by the way, speaking of time travel, tonight AEW is in Long Island. Anytime you're in the Northeast, you know it's going to be a hot and rowdy crowd. And this weekend, we've got AEW Rampage and Battle of the Belts coming up on Saturday. It's the 7th from Kingston, Rhode Island. Have you spent much time in Rhode Island before, Tony?
I've spent a lot of time in Pawtucket when I did baseball, and we played the Pawtucket Red Sox. So every time we went to Pawtucket to play the Red Sox, and I was with the Gwinnett Braves at that time, we would stay in Providence. So I have spent quite a few days in Providence, Rhode Island. And in Providence, they have a place called The Hill, which is all Italian restaurants. And at one time, as they talk about, Providence, Rhode Island had a big mafia contingent. And there's even it's called Crime Town. There's a podcast out there called Crime Town that talks about the mayor of Providence being basically into the mafia, buddy something or not. So I've spent a lot of time in Providence. It's a pretty cool town, actually. So, but I've never been to Kingston. I've never been to the University of Rhode Island.
Well, shout out to Steve Patty, who helps me on the mortgage side of my life. He actually went to Providence for college, and my old pal Ed, his best friend, just moved to Nantucket, and I thought, well, that can't be far from Pawtucket. Turns out it's 3.5 hours.
Yeah,
I'm what I would call Northeast stupid.
Yeah,
it's confusing to me. You know, we have pretty big states down here in the South, whether it's Tennessee or certainly Georgia and Alabama. These are relatively large surface area states.
Sure.
And then in the Northeast, it's like, man, those states are so close together and some of them are so small. And
right.
It's like, oh, okay, those are like large counties for some of us here. But I mean, maybe nobody bigger than Texas, I guess. That's like a country over there.
Sure. It's a different world up there. It really is. And oddly enough, my oldest son, Matt, who is a Georgia boy and went to University of Georgia and loves the dogs and loves everything Georgia, went up there and stayed, got married, and lives in New Jersey.
And does he have any intention of leaving, or is her family from there?
Her family's from there.
So he ain't leaving. Yeah.
No, he's not. They got a very close family. They really do. And a big family up there.
Well, it's pretty cool that he gets to work with you again, and y'all's family is sort of together again in a way that maybe wouldn't have been possible otherwise.
Well, yeah, I get to see him weekly, which I probably wouldn't have done, obviously.
Right. So listen, you've called wrestling all over. I mean, literally all over. Is there a state you haven't called wrestling in yet?
Vermont.
Okay. I love you had that answer ready. You had that answer ready.
I do. When people say, what states have you not visited? The two states I've never been in are Vermont for some reason and Alaska. I've been to Hawaii, although I've never called wrestling there. I went there with the Georgia Bulldogs in the Maui Classic. So,
well, just so you know, anytime you want to stop by and hang out in Vermont, our old pal doodoo-trucking.com, Jeff Jewett, he lives in Vermont.
Yeah.
He'd be glad to host you. He recently went through a divorce or separation, and now he has a lovely van down by the river. And that van has had a stripper pole installed, and he says he uses it for exercise. So if you would like to stop by, check him out, see the routine. And you may recall, doodoo-trucking.com had one of the most prolific wrestling collections of all time. It now adorns the interior of that 1984 Econoline van.
So he had to I guess pare it down. Would that be the?
No. He's got more cash than he could fly over. He just says these real estate prices are stupid. I'm going to wait. And when some poor family loses their house to foreclosure, I'm going to swoop in, pack their little kid's shit, throw it out in the yard, and make it my own. But he's looking for a deal. So in the meantime, he just sleeps on a bed, a mattress full of cash. He's got one of those My Pillows, except his My Pillow is filled with $100 bills. And just, like Steiner ring-worn jackets on the wall, Roddy Piper's kilt on the wall of the van, but then a stripper pole right in the center. And I don't understand why the pole is inside the van, but he says I'm welcome to come check it out. So I won't be able to make it to Vermont, but I know it's your dream to get in a van down by the river in Vermont.
God, I guess to each his own, right?
Well, they say divorce is expensive, but the thing about that is it's worth it.
Okay. Got it.
Have you seen the routine that is, it's one of the best routines I've ever seen about divorce. Louis C.K.'s routine.
I probably have. I've seen this routine though, that probably would explain, doodoo-trucking.com.
Buddy! All right, how's everybody? Good.
You ever heard this?
Now, as your father probably told you, my name is Matt Foley.
Yeah.
And I am a motivational speaker.
Someone had the van down by the river.
Yeah, that's where I stole it from.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. How could you be a fat guy like me and not be a big Chris Farley fan? Down by the river was just an homage to Mr. Farley.
And I live in a van down by the river.
You ever notice that Mick Foley basically stole his routine from Chris Farley?
I guess.
First
of all,
right? Well, first of all, the voice, but then in that same skit, he collapses through the table, the coffee table. He just goes right through it.
Right.
And it's Farley, Foley, the voice all over the place, falling through shit. I'm just saying, I'm gonna have to call Mick on it when I see him.
Yeah. Oh God, just really one of the all-time great comedians. Really is.
Mick Foley?
No, Chris Farley.
Mick Foley's pretty funny too, you motherfucker, you.
Well, yeah, he is.
Hey, no joking here. Double or Nothing coming up in Las Vegas, May 28th. It's always a good time. If you find yourself out there and you run into Tony Schiavone, be sure to ask him about Mellow Yellow. He knows where all the hookups are out there, and be sure to shout out Diamond. So without further ado,
that would be Mellow Yellow Zero.
Right.
Which they don't make anymore, I don't think.
Well, you could probably smuggle in some.
I found a couple of cases or a couple of 12 packs in a Publix, and I got them for just for historical purposes.
Well, listen, if you're listening to this and you got the hookup on some Mellow Yellow Zero, boy, we sure would love to have it for Tony. I don't drink that shit.
I moved on.
Oh, you moved on.
Yeah, I'm a Monster Ultra Fiesta Zero.
I forgot. It's like wrestling. When you thought it gave up on you, you just moved on.
Exactly.
Let me ask you this. For a guy who is so adept and so skillful in his ability to just move on, can you explain in a loud and clear voice why you're still married?
Because I have a tendency to move on from an argument.
Oh, but you can't move on from a relationship?
I don't want to.
Well,
I just don't think it would have been worth it.
Right. You don't want to be in a van down by the river.
Exactly.
Yeah. I understand. I was hoping when I teed that up, you would have said, I don't like vans, Conrad. We'll try again another time. So listen, as a reminder, the first Clash of the Champions took place at the end of March. As you may recall, Ric Flair made Sting, much like Kenny Omega did with Vikingo a few weeks ago. They went to a 45-minute draw. Sting was a made man on the other side of that. Also at the Clash of the Champions, we saw Lex Luger and Barry Windham beat Tully and Arn Anderson for the tag team titles, and the Midnight Express would retain their U.S. tag team titles over the Fantastics, who were the new hot shit in town. The seeds for the April 22nd and April 23rd Jim Crockett Sr. Memorial Tag Team Cup were also announced. Arn and Tully are the number 1 seed. Dusty and Nikita are the number 2 seed. The Road Warriors are the number 3 seed. The Midnight Express, who are the U.S. champs, are the number 4 seed. Explain that. The Powers of Pain are the number 5 seed. Luger and Wyndham, who are now the actual tag champs, are the number 6 seed. The Fantastics are the number 7 seed. Mike Rotundo and Rick Steiner are here in at number 8. Sting and Ron Garvin are together as a team as number 9. And the 10th place seed is Dick Murdoch and Ivan Koloff. So now you sort of know what's going on here in JCP. As a reminder, on the other channel, on the heels of WrestleMania 4, the Macho Man Randy Savage is now your WWF champion. Of course, this is happening because Hulk Hogan is about to take a summer break to go film the movie No Holds Barred, which is the greatest wrestling movie of all time. At least until this Von Erich movie comes out. Have you heard anything about that Von Erich movie from anybody in your sphere?
I've heard a few things about it, but not much. You probably know a lot more than I do about it.
I've heard it was fantastic.
Okay.
I've heard it. I haven't seen, nobody's seen the final cut, but they think they're making something special.
Okay.
And I've heard that, when it comes out, there's going to be Von Erich mania.
Okay.
So I'm saying this in code to all of my collectors right now. I'm talking to you, Pondwater. Start hoarding your Von Erich shit. When that movie comes out, it's going to be worth a lot more than it is now. So if you like money and you like collecting things, go gobble up some Von Erich shit, because this time next year, you'll be glad you did.
Well, don't all Hollywood producers think that their movie's going to be hot shit?
No. A lot of times, they know they're making a big piece of shit, but the check clears. You know what I mean? Hey, can I give you a little pro tip? Something I discovered accidentally. I just sort of stumbled across it.
Okay.
And it was a damn good movie. And I thought during the pandemic, my wife and I saw everything with our favorite actors ever. Cause it was like a several month stretch where we didn't leave the house, you know?
Sure.
Dragged across concrete. Have you heard of that before?
Dragged Across Concrete.
Yes.
No.
It's a 2018 movie that has Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn in it, but it's not a comedy, and it's fantastic. Like, I think the thing is, I didn't have any expectations. I just thought it would be nothing. Like, I didn't think it'd be worth a damn at all, because I'd never heard of it.
Right.
It was really good. I guess it was filmed or released in 2018 and maybe re-released in 2019. I don't know, but I never even heard of it, but Dragged Across Concrete. Pretty good. Like a sleeper, if you will. Speaking of big time movies, Beetlejuice was number 1 at the box office when the episode aired that we're about to watch. So back in 1988, the number 1 movie at the box office was Beetlejuice. The number 1 song in the USA, Get Out of My Dreams, Get Into My Car by Billy Ocean.
I heard that the other day on Sirius XM. And
it's a good song.
What a great song. Oh man, what a great song. Yeah. Probably, not politically correct here in 2023, but,
oh, fuck that. It was a fun song for 1988.
I know, but I'm just bringing up the way society is now, which is fucked. Society's fucked.
Well,
you do know that. We're all fucked.
You know what's not fucked?
What?
Henson Shaving.
Ah, boy, is it not.
Listen, I know that we have a lot of great sponsors on our program, and you're used to me shilling for them. But I just want to say this for the record. If Henson Shaving never advertises with us again, I'm still going to use this razor for the rest of my life. I have used every sort of gimmick razor there is. If you told me this son of a bitch had 17 razors and it was double-sided and aloe vera Jones and adjustable and had a fucking nightlight on. I bought all those gimmicks. And they were very expensive. So expensive, Tony, that here in Alabama, they keep that shit under lock and key. Like if you go to Walmart or the drugstore or something like that, there's a section where these razors are, and they're like behind glass. You got to ask somebody with a key to come unlock it. You know what that means, Tony? It's expensive. Henson Shaving is not. Henson Shaving is not only better than what you've been doing, it's also cheaper. And I have to admit, Tony, we vet all of our sponsors before we allow them on the program. They'll send us the product, and if we like it, we'll say, okay, we'll do this one.
Right.
And sometimes they send us stuff and we're like, this is stupid. We're not doing that. But there's this product I thought was fantastic, but I just naturally assumed, because we never tell anybody how much these products are. We just direct them to the website. So I just naturally assumed, well, damn, this is awesome, but it must be pretty expensive. Now it's worth it, but it must be pretty expensive. But I talked it up so much at the office, Tony, that my dad said, okay, son, shit, what's the promo code? I'll buy one. So me being me, I said, here, I'll do it for you, Dad, because he's a hunting pecker. So I go type it in. I put in our code. I see the amount of money it costs at the bottom, and I said, Dad, this is all, I can't believe, and here's why. This is a razor that will last you a lifetime, and the blades, they're only going to run you like $3 to $5 a year. Not $3 to $5 a week, not $3 to $5 a month, not $3 to $5 a quarter, $3 to $5 a freaking year. And once I understood that, it was like, dude, this is a lifetime sponsor for me. Maybe they won't stick around on this show forever, but they are going to be a part of my life forever. I like it so much. When my dad got one, I ordered one for the office. I ordered another one for my travel bag. So right now I have one at the office, one in my travel bag, and one at home. My barber came around, told my barber about it. She got one too. Everybody I know who has experience with razors, and razors are a regular part of their life, and they're looking to, always looking to upgrade. Hey, here's a better TV. Hey, here's a better car. Hey, here's a better whatever. Okay, I'm in. But it's also cheaper. Not only is it better, it's cheaper. I just love Henson Shaving, and none of this is in the copy, as Tony knows. This is just a real testimonial for me, how I feel about it. Here's the backstory. Family-owned business, Henson Shaving is. They used to make parts for the International Space Station and the Mars rover. That's right, it's an aerospace engineering company, and they took that same engineering and those same CNC machines that they've used to make stuff for space, y'all, and they've made the tiniest little razors you've ever seen. They are so thin. They're thinner than a human hair. Like, I've never felt like a razor wobble. This does. And I mean, like, in terms of, like, it's, I don't want to say flimsy, but like a human hair thickness. What in the world? 0.0013 inches. And what that means, this really thin razor is a more secure and stable blade and a vibration-free shave. And that's the problem with a regular razor. They're very stiff and rigid. And so I'm just telling you, this is the way to do it. This razor is unbelievable. I absolutely love it. It has built-in channels to evacuate hair and cream. It makes clogging impossible. And these guys, man, here's the thing. You got to decide when you start a business, what type of business do you want? They didn't want the best razor business. They wanted the best razor, meaning I'm not going to sell you a subscription here today. They don't even have that. They also don't have any planned obsolescence where, well, we don't make that model anymore. Now you have to. No, this is a standard old school double-sided razor, just like your handsome ass grandfather used to use, except they use new age tech to make it thinner than ever, 0.0013 inches. This is just unbelievable. I can't wait for you to try it. You're going to love it. Go check it out for yourself. The blades are $3 to $5 a year. And Tony, we got a special offer, don't we?
Do we ever? How about this for the next 2 years of your life? It's time to say no to subscriptions and yes to a razor that'll last you a lifetime. Visit hensonshaving.com/WHW to pick the razor for you and use code WHW and listen to this, you'll get 2 years worth of blades free with your razor. 2 years worth of blades.
Come on.
Just make sure to add them to your cart. That's 100 free blades when you head to hensonshaving.com/WHW and use code WHW.
Seriously, I challenge you. Just go to hensonshaving.com/WHW. look at it, see how much it costs, and know that's a one-time expense. And know moving forward, it's $3 to $5 a year. You just can't beat it. And you can't beat Jim Crockett Promotions from 1988. Well, I guess unless you're Vince McMahon. But we're going to have a lot of fun today. And I think we've got a fun countdown, don't we, Tony?
We've got our standard Steph Chesney countdown, which, by the way, I heard from Steph the other day. He sent me a text. First time I'd heard from him in a long time. I wasn't sure he was still around. But he is. And he is on this right here.
You know it's all about your money! Only your money, baby! You know it's all about your money! Yeah!
Everyone give it up for Tony. Give it up for Tony.
Let me tell you something, little skinny motherfucker. I will beat your ass, plus I will beat your ass in video games. I know that you're freaking lying.
Killing it.
How's it gonna feel to go back to Connecticut and tell the fuckers that an old 63-year-old man beat your ass? This is what you're waiting for. I know you know the score. 3, 2, 1, play! Yes, he made it!
So we're looking at footage from the Clash of the Champions, Midnight Express versus the Fantastics.
That's gonna cost him. The referee just did. He can't stand any longer, Tony.
Look at the fans go crazy. And Cornette took a bump.
So it looks like, hey, the Fantastics just won, but let's not forget they threw a referee over the top rope. So maybe not so much.
This would be what you call a dusty finish.
Yes, it is. And here it is.
There's Randy Anderson back in there. No. He's going to award the belts back to the Midnight Express for throwing him over the top rope. That's exactly, you can see it, what he's doing right there. And now they are working. Cornette hit both referees with that loaded racket.
That was referee Randy Anderson. And thankfully, about 9 years later, Eric Bischoff would finally fire him for this stupid shit.
They're taking his belt off. He's got that leather belt. Oh, they're lashing his back like an animal. Cornette wants a few licks.
Lashing his back like an animal? Who lashes an animal's back?
He's taking the hide off of it.
Well, I mean, I guess you do, but you use a baseball bat, not a belt.
No, Johnny Weaver, as a matter of fact, would be saying something like that. Don't you think that? I mean, they could have still got the heat and still switched the titles.
Yeah. I mean, to me, oh, look at there. How about that? Tommy Young caught a racket shot from Jim Cornette.
Yeah.
Jim Cornette is an all-timer. You know what?
Oh my God.
I mean, I know that, you know, we all say, oh, he's on the Mount Rushmore of managers, but I think you could even go so far as to say he's in the top whatever performers. I mean, whether you want to say 10 or 20 or 50 or whatever it is, I'm talking all positions. If you could start a company, man, he's on the list.
Championship Wrestling, Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross. David Crockett on assignment this week, and you're ringside with the NWA. The Major League of Professional Wrestling, a lot going on as we lead on to the later stages of this month of April and the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup Tag Team Tournament. One thing that is going on, we talked about it during the week. Last week we said that the NWA Board of Directors would be meeting to decide on a situation you saw right here on TBS concerning the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. They have met, Jim Ross, and we're going to show you. I had a chance to go to the headquarters of the NWA, had a chance to talk to some of the people on that ruling.
We're going to find out exactly the fate of Dusty Rhodes' incident here that happened right here in the TBS studio. We'll find exactly what's going to happen today here, ladies and gentlemen, on World Championship Wrestling. Plus, Tony, the return of Nikita Koloff right here to action this week.
Also, look at a lot of the teams that will be competing in the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup Tag Team Tournament. And also, a new young wrestler coming to the NWA. We'll take a look at him, very special look at him, a little bit later on. And you saw right at the top of the program, Jim Cornette, what he did to Bobby Fulton of the Fantastics during the Clash of the Champions. Well, the Fantastics are here. We'll be talking to Jim Cornette and much, much more. Right now, let's go to the ring because the Fantastics are ready to roll.
So we got the Fantastics against Art Pritz and Big Bear Collie, we've had a lot of fun with in recent weeks. But the story with Dusty that we're talking about, of course, is the absolute chaos from, 2 weeks ago here on our program. I think we called it Dusty Goes Wild. When JJ was out here with Tully Blanchard and Magnum TA, Magnum was saying, you know, he's not where he used to be, so he's got to carry this bat with him now to protect himself and that sort of thing. And out comes Tully. He slaps Magnum. Magnum goes down. JJ helped him out a little bit. And then Dusty just goes bananas and comes out, grabs that bat, clears house on everybody. But then, quote unquote, accidentally, inadvertently, winds up hitting Jim Crockett Jr. Jim goes down. Immediately David goes to check on him, and some other personnel are checking on him. But the entire babyface locker room would come out to try to take Dusty off of, well, everyone in sight. Just calm down, big man. And then JJ came out and cut what you thought might have been the promo of his life, where he demanded that Dusty Rhodes be suspended and banned from the NWA for life. So I'm excited to see that we're going to see you visit the NWA headquarters, because as I understand it, that didn't even really exist, right?
No. And I don't remember what we did. I'm
You'll
sure
know it when you see it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure I didn't go out to Kansas City and talk to Bob Geigel.
No, why would you? You didn't want to wind up taking bumps in a parking lot in the mud.
But but probably Bob Geigel probably had come to visit the Crockett's. I don't know. I don't know how it happened. But we're going to see it. And, but again, going back to that, as we call Dusty finish, which is, you know, I think that sometimes we overlook how great of a booker Dusty was and some great things he did because of some of those finishes. But again, you can tell the fans were so excited the Fantastics won.
Yes.
And then they had it taken away from them.
Yeah.
So you can see where the fans would now not be pissed off at Jim Cornette. They would be pissed off at
the promotion.
Happened. Yeah.
Hey, take a look at Teddy Long here wearing all black. You remember seeing that before? I don't remember seeing that.
I don't either. I don't remember ever seeing a referee wearing anything but stripes.
Well, you do. I mean, they used to wear blue shirts in WCW.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about in this era.
Yeah.
Yeah. The old studio days. But yeah, we started wearing powder blue shirts with bow ties. But I always think referees should wear stripes.
Yeah, I totally agree. I like the stripe look, and this stands out here to me.
Yeah. It's almost as if Teddy did this on his own.
I want to look good, playa. Okay.
Teddy's awfully thin here as well. Well, you know, of course, the older you get.
Sucking on an air hose or whatever you called it.
Yeah, sucking on. Not to say that Teddy Long had been, but, you know, we all get thicker when we get older. It's either muscle mass, weight, or your skin starting to drip off of you.
Okay. All right. You're getting gross.
Well, it's true.
Hey, speaking of gross.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to see, have you had any time to think about old Baby Nuts last week? You know, he fucks with chocolate milk heavy and cuts his pizza with scissors.
Right. I've thought about that. I think,
how would you cut pizza with scissors?
You would have to take tongs. Okay. Now remember, tongs are not a friend of the cookie, but you would take tongs and you would raise the pizza up so you wouldn't burn your hand. And then you would get the scissor me daddy down in there.
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
And you would do it like that.
I'll be honest. I have used the technique you're showing right there, but not for pizza.
Oh, okay.
So help me understand. You said tongs are not a friend of the cookie. Now that feels like we should put that maybe in a piece of granite.
Well, that came from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Okay.
You ever seen the routine where he went into the hotel to wait on a friend?
Yes. And eventually he got kicked out of there. Right, I recall.
Because the guy said, "Sir, the tongs are for the cookie." He said, "No, tongs are not a friend of the cookie." Go ahead, try to pick it up.
And in addition to that, we should mention that Larry was on to something. They were claiming that cookie was made there at the hotel. That cookie's not made at the hotel.
No, right.
That's a Pepperidge Farm cookie.
You know, this is the truth. Every time I see tongs next to a cookie in the Delta Lounge or maybe in catering,
Yeah.
I always say to myself, tongs are not a friend of the cookie. It is stuck with me.
It is the greatest comedy show
Yeah.
in history.
Yeah. It is. It is.
It's not close. I don't think there is a second place that I could come off the top of my head and say, well, this was funnier. Like,
Yeah. I know.
I couldn't even make an argument for another show.
Yeah.
When is that coming back? Do you know?
I don't know. I haven't seen the last season of it yet.
Oh, you gotta.
The whole season yet.
It's so good.
Yeah. There's just so many memorable things that happened during that show. It just, again, you know, and then of course, Leon, God, one of the great characters of all time. And then you saw, Clear History, didn't you? See
No.
the movie Clear History?
I didn't.
You need to watch that because that's him doing his routine, but as another character.
It was renewed, in November. I'm sorry, August. So we're definitely getting another season, but they haven't said when the new season comes out.
Well, watch Clear History. It's on HBO Max.
Okay.
Yeah. It's Larry David playing Larry David, but as another character. It's his whole routine.
You know what? I think I have seen this. I didn't think I had, but now that I see the photo,
Yeah.
I think I got it.
Yeah.
We're going
Okay, here we
to
go.
break here. When we come back, here we go.
Welcome back to World Championship Wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. And at the top of the program, the footage that we saw was involving the Fantastics and the Midnight Express that happened in Greensboro. I know you're not going to forget that for a long time to come. That lashing with a leather belt, but $1 million would sure make it feel a lot better, I would think.
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Ross, right now, I was really frustrated when I threw the referee over the top ropes, but we did once again use that rocket launcher for a 1, 2, 3. Jimmy Cornette, we want them United States straps, brother, but we got a special strap just waiting just for you, or either one of the Midnight Express. When you peeled the hide off my back, brother, and you came out on national TV and knocked my mother, that's something you don't do. The Fantastics and the fans all over are going to take it to you, brother, Fantastic style.
You're the number 7 seed in the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup tournament, but you've got to get through Greenville to make it all happen.
That's right, Mr. Ross. You know, we came here for the U.S. Tag Team belts. But right now, first and foremost on the Fantastics' mind are getting through Greenville and then to Greensboro for that $1 million. One of the most prestigious tag team tournaments in the world. Something Bobby and myself do best. But Jimmy Cornette, if we happen to meet you going through that the Memorial Cup, let me tell you one thing, it's not going to be for the belts. It's going to be for sweet revenge. I'd just like to say one thing, Mr. Ross, to my father back home. Get well soon, Dad. You're tough. I know you're tough, and I'll see you soon.
All right, gentlemen, best of luck to the Jim Crockett Cup. Any more final comments?
We'd like to say a special to all the fans out there, and we love you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the ring for tag team action.
Hey, it was a great promo, and then it really petered out there at the end. However, I do like when a guy would say, "Hey, Dad, I'm thinking about you." You know, that was pretty cool.
It makes it real.
Humanizes them.
Humanizes them. Sure. I was thinking about something as we're talking about the tournament.
Yeah.
First tournament in New Orleans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Second tournament in Baltimore. Oh, by the way, there's my phone. Second tournament in Baltimore. And third tournament, Greenville and Greensboro. So you can see how they cut the expenses in 1988.
Well, also too, you know, Watts is no longer able to do what he could do before. You know, he was still trying to compete, and now he's sucking hind teat.
Right.
So,
right. But I'm saying the Crockett's were cutting expenses.
Yeah.
By not flying everybody to Baltimore and
hearing you on.
Yeah. I mean, this is a drive.
Yeah.
You drive to Greenville, you drive to Greensboro. Charlotte was a very good central area for the Mid-Atlantic territories.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's right there on the South Carolina, North Carolina line. And,
I'll be in Greenville soon.
Really?
Yep. Remember, I'm going to stop by and see your lovely bride.
That's correct.
Or that's the plan. Now,
Should I alert her of this?
do not set an expectation because, plans change.
Right. So should I just say, you may have a guest?
No, don't even, because if I show up, I'm going to show up with a gift.
Okay.
I want it to be a surprise.
Okay, great.
The gift will be Casio Kid, but still.
Well, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
It is.
Yes. Of the whack pack that you,
He's my favorite.
He's the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And here's the thing too. The rest of the whack pack know he's my favorite and they're cool with it. Cause guess what? He's their favorite too.
Yeah. Well,
a lot of people become my friend just to become Cassius' friend.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why you say, well, I may not be able to record this week. And then I say, is Casio available? He is? Okay, good. Well,
yeah, that'll be fine. That'll be fine.
Yeah, go do what you got to do.
You want to miss 3 or 4 weeks? That's cool. Is Casio available?
How about Zabisco and Perez being a team here?
You know what? I don't hate it.
I don't either.
I mean, in hindsight, and I know they were doing this just for the tag team Memorial Cup and the Crockett Cup and all that jazz, which by the way, look at there. I got a replica.
Oh,
it's a replica Crockett Cup. And look what's right there.
It's the boot.
The boot. And then, you know what that is.
The Nitro sign. Yeah.
I mean, come on, trying to get it represented up here. And that's Vader's and that's Rey Mysterio. Those are Flair's last boots.
Oh, wow.
No, that was Taz. He gifted me those. Those are Raiders.
Okay.
But still, yeah, I got him a replica cup. And that's not the same, but nobody knows where the real one is. But I saw some cat selling a replica on eBay and I was like, it ain't identical, but it's close enough. And, be a nice little placeholder. But yeah, I got that Dusty boot. And of course, Mance Warner won our bronze boot at the last, I guess what's going to be the last, JCP show from, Nashville last year.
Uh-huh.
So hopefully one day I'll get to reunite those and have a photo with them.
Man, something you just said kind of intrigues me, that no one knows where the Crockett Cup is.
Not a soul.
Not even Jackie.
I've been after it forever, bud. Nobody knows. Ain't that crazy?
Yeah, that is crazy. Who won the last cup?
Well, here's the thing. It was displayed at Jocks and Jill's.
In here in Atlanta.
Yes. And the CNN Center or whatever.
CNN. Okay.
And then when Jocks and Jill's shut down, that left along with, remember when Nikita destroyed the U.S. title at ringside around the ring post?
Yes.
That was displayed in the same case. Nobody knows where either one are now.
Okay.
I've tracked down the old owners of that Jocks and Jill's. I've talked to all the Crockett's. I mean, I have done everything I could do. And I can't find it. And I've been looking for 10 years.
Craig Sager, who's since passed, who was, you saw him in the NBA with those very colorful jackets.
Yeah, I know who he is. Yeah.
And he was one of the owners of Jocks and Jills.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You think we could do a seance, ask him where it went?
No, but he raised his family around here, and I may know how to get in touch with his son.
Man, if you want to find that would really make up for you fucking me on that 6-man all those years ago.
That's never ending routine.
I would never. I mean, I'd much rather have the Crockett Cup than a goddamn funky ass 6-man title.
Okay. Well, we know where the 6-man title is. You just need to get your large ass out to San Diego and get it.
And say, Tony said, come get it. Imagine that. And then I try to waddle away with it. I don't think that's going to work.
Okay. We're going to be going to San Diego right after Double or Nothing.
And you're going to get it for me?
Well, I will effort it.
If you do, take Matt along and let's film it.
Perez, Larry Zbyszko, and Mr. Gary Hart, a team with a lot of moves in professional wrestling.
It's going to be even more moves because at the present time, I have a petition before the board of directors of the National Wrestling Alliance demanding that the pile driver that took Larry Zbyszko to fame and fortune be reinstated. It's a time enough that all you prima donna, crybaby competitors want to take things away. Well, I will have it reinstated. The pile driver And I will also have Al Perez utilizing the spinning toe hold. And hopefully at the Crockett Cup when it's for $1 million, everybody talking about the Dusty Rhodes and Nikita, how Nikita has left his country and become an American. Well, you're going to find out what it's like, Nikita. You want to step in front of Dusty Rhodes. You want to be his protector. You want to be his shield. You want to be his bodyguard. Well, here is a Latin. And here's a young man from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, that's going to have the pile driver legalized. What's your head gonna look like, Nikita? What would happen right over here? Drop one Russian on his head with a pile driver, and then take a ugly, wimp-faced, redneck, violent, no good, cheating, conniving Dusty Rhodes, and you put the spinning toe hold on, and what do you got? You got a Russian with a cracked neck, and you got a big shot by the name of Dusty Rhodes limping. So, boys, $1 million except 30% for me.
You know, I want to say something, Tony. When Gary Hart now called me and we talked about the Crockett Senior Memorial Cup, we talked about exactly what he said, $1 million. We know the superpowers were the big winners, and we also know that we can beat them. We're not in the top 10, but then again, we're just late entries. We're the entries that no one knows about. We're the entries that no one had time to study about. And we're the entries that no one out there can come in here and out-wrestle.
The world is going to know that Dusty Rhodes and Nikita Koloff ain't so bad when you got wrestlers and Gary Hart.
Gary Hart, Al Perez, and Larry Zbyszko. Quite a combination. Let's go back to the ring, fans.
Quite a combination. I'm still yucking. I don't know any better. I will make myself so uncomfortable 35 years from now.
Dr. Death Steve Williams. What a big, great athlete. Hey, and Jim Ross, wasn't he a former great amateur wrestler and star at the University of Oklahoma? Boomer Sooner, JR.
I love you.
I like
for
it. I like how Gary Hart says, we're going to win the $1 million minus 30% for me.
that. Yes, I loved it. He is so great, so underrated.
Oh, man.
How would you describe, listen, I'm a hillbilly. How would you describe his accent? What kind of accent is that? Because I love it. It almost sounds a little Cajun.
It does. He always claims he was from the streets of Chicago.
Right, but it sounds Cajun when he really gets going, and I love it so much.
It has a southern type drawl to it. Yeah.
If he hit us with "I do declare" and I guarantee, I would have been like, yeah, that checks out. I could listen to Gary Hart promos all day long, though.
Yeah, he was a master. He was good. Knew the business. Was a booker. Actually, I think he was a booker at.
He helped a lot in World Class, didn't he?
Yeah, during the great era, right?
Yeah.
I think
So I understand it.
I wonder if he's going to be portrayed in the movie.
Oh, you know it. You know it.
Yeah. He was still booking at World Class while he was doing some stuff for us in the early 80s. And that's back when he first Starcade and he was a manager of Kevin Sullivan and the Purple Haze.
I love those Dr. Death boots, man.
Yeah, man.
How would you describe the way the bottom of the boots look with those like red waves or spikes on the bottom? How would you describe that?
They almost look like cleats, don't they?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I didn't really think about that, but yeah, I like that. And I love the skull and crossbones and just death down the side. That's awesome.
That's what I like about it. Yeah.
Like, man, I got to find me a pair of those boots. Cause you know what would be fun? You get a pair of those boots and you gift them to JR.
That would be tremendous.
Isn't that cool? Nobody tell JR that I like that idea, but if you know where these boots are, slide in my DMs. I'd like to get those for Jim. I think he'd display those in his house. You know it?
Mm.
That's his man right there. One of his best friends.
Oh boy. God, he was a badass in real life.
Broad, dude.
But wasn't the type of badass that go around threatening people or shit like that. He was
you just
really
knew better
nice
than to
person.
fuck with him.
Yeah. He just, if you're in a fight, he's the one you want. He or Ming, obviously, Haku.
If you're a contractor at his house and he says what's something, and you hand him a bill and he disagrees, just go ahead and, whatever he thinks is fine.
Yeah, mark that out.
Yeah, that's my bad. What would you like to pay, Mr. Williams?
Look at the main event, Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. I thought that was a Sunday show. Maybe we changed it around a little bit. I guess that was the old championship wrestling.
To go on Superstation TBS, Magnum had come out, confronted by Tully Blanchard. Barry Windham came out, and then the puncher started to fly. The American Dream came out, and we said that last week that the NWA Board of Directors will be meeting to decide the fate of the American Dream.
Here we go.
I had a chance to go to the headquarters of the NWA.
You're right, you are, Tony, and meet they did, ladies and gentlemen. The National Wrestling Alliance Board of Directors did finally meet. They have finally come to a decision, and we're going to go now to the pre-recorded comments from the recent Board of Directors meeting held by the National Wrestling Alliance Board of Directors. Let's go now to the videotape.
The Board of Directors for the National Wrestling Alliance have met regarding the Dusty Rhodes incident, and the following has been voted on by the board. Dusty Rhodes has been suspended from wrestling for 120 days throughout the world. The U.S. heavyweight title has also been stripped from Dusty Rhodes. This ruling was not a unanimous vote by the National Wrestling Alliance Board of Directors. Mr. Rhodes, do you have a statement to make at this time?
Yes, I do. First of all, I want to apologize to the National Wrestling Alliance for the actions I took on TBS. Personally, apologize to my good friend, Jim Crockett. But I will not apologize to you, J.J. Dillon, because in my life I've seen a lot of ups and downs, because I go back to the point in time when my father passed away and my young son was born in the same days. The doors closed and doors opened for Dusty Rhodes. So 120 days, stud, I won't hold myself responsible for the actions that I take. And that's the bottom line.
But here's Dusty Rhodes. Dusty, well, Dusty Rhodes, stripped of the U.S. heavyweight title, and obviously not in any mood to talk to us at this time, but hopefully some more will be coming out very soon. We'll be able to talk to him about what happened to the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, formerly at this time the U.S. heavyweight champion. And Mr. Paul Bosch, it's good to see you, and I know it was a very stiff verdict. What exactly were your
Tony,
feelings?
I've been in wrestling for 55 years, and I sat there taking notes in amazement. I can't ever recall having such a grinding feeling in my stomach at any decision that I have heard over the years. Now, I'm a friend of that man. I know him for years. I've trusted him. I've been close to him, and I know one thing, that right here, this punishment is not fitting the crime. I think that it's far too harsh, far too severe, and I don't think enough went into it, and I know everybody didn't agree with it.
Right.
I know that I didn't vote for it.
Okay. Well, it was not a unanimous decision, as we heard before, but it was a decision. Mr. Paul Bosch rendering his thoughts on exactly what happened here today at the headquarters of the National Wrestling Alliance. And Mr. Jim Crockett is with us. Mr. Crockett, some of your feelings of what happened in there today.
I thought it was totally unjustified. I didn't vote for it, but it was a majority vote, not unanimous. Okay. And I just have nothing else to say.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Jim Crockett. Board of Governors of the NWA have rendered their decision at this time. Dusty Rhodes, stripped of the U.S. heavyweight title and also suspended from wrestling in the world from 120 days. I'm Tony Schiavone at the headquarters of the NWA.
All right, so where'd you shoot that?
We shot that in, it was a lawyer's office in Charlotte. Obviously, Rob Gardner was at the head of it, and I'm trying to think of I think it was Dusty's lawyer or Jim's lawyer that we shot it.
We'll talk about it a little more. Here's Animal.
Giovanni, Dusty Rhodes' life and the way he grew up is very similar to that of mine and Hawks. He started out with nothing, and he made himself one of the top names for years in our profession, and we've tried to do the same thing. Now, the Warriors, we don't get close to nobody. But Dusty Rhodes is our six-man partner, so we've got like this. And what I think what the NWA done makes me sick. To come out here and have Tully Blanchard hit a defenseless guy who he knows is not even close to being 100% makes me sick. If it were me, Tully Blanchard, you'd be walking boldly your dead back for a year. Dusty Rhodes, anytime, any place, we can help you out. You just let me or my manager know. We'll do it. Tell him, Paul.
You know, Tony, the Midnight Rider, I was talking to him, he said to me, Paul, if I can borrow it from Willie Nelson, from the rocking of the cradle to the rolling of the hearse, the going up is not worth the coming down. They're all gonna pay. And I know that's true. Now our brother Hawk is getting right and getting ready, as only Hawk can do. Which brings me to the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup. You know, when you put out an ad, which essentially is what they've done, they put out an ad that says, wanted 25 of the greatest teams in professional wrestling. Wanted 25 teams that are willing to pay the price for $1 million, that are willing to pay the price for their name on history, their name on a cup that will live forever. Wanted 25 teams that won't look back. There's no second chances. That's what the ad says. That's what the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup's all about. But at the bottom of that ad lies another ad, and it's taken out by the Road Warriors. And it says, from the Legion of Doom, beat us if you can, because we know what $1 million is all about. And I know what the Animal, and I know what Hawk will do for $1 million. And believe me, gentlemen, it's not pretty, it's not fact, and it's not fiction. So you think about it. Are you willing to pay the price?
The Russian Nightmare returns to the Superstation.
So Nikita Koloff going to take on Ryan Wagner here. Before we talk about the little press conference thing that just happened, the board meeting, man, look at Nikita with hair.
Yeah, man.
Is this the debut of Nikita with hair?
Yes, it is. And because I said he returns to the Superstation, and first time we'd seen him in quite a while, and
he's shrunk and he's got hair.
I know. It's
not the
Nikita Koloff that we remember.
We heard Paul Ellering say there, it's not fact and it's not fiction. Well, what is it?
It's a cliche. It's just looking for words.
But if it's not fact and it's not fiction, what would that, what other options are there?
It would be hearsay.
So that would be fiction.
Well, no, it would just be words.
Words are either true or not, though.
Well, no, hearsay is that you can't validate what they're saying to be true or false. Okay.
Here's what I say. You're bullshitting right now.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Hey, I've bullshitted my entire career.
And it's working out, and we love you for it. I want to give everybody a heads up. If you're watching along with us, we are watching Nikita Koloff stomp a mud hole in Ryan Wagner. And as soon as this is over, I imagine they will take a break. We will too. So be prepared when they go to commercial. You want to hit pause because we're going to take a commercial as well. The thing that stood out to me about the board of directors scene.
Yes.
Those zooms and camera cuts.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the worst I've ever seen.
Especially the hands. The close up of the hands being like this. I'm thinking, what?
I when it went to, I got a tight shot of Paul Bosch.
Yeah.
Was funny. And then from every angle, the lighting was different, just primitive. Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I think it's cool, but at the same time, it's like, guys, you're on TBS.
We didn't have a crew. We had one guy, Wayne Daniel.
Yeah.
And Emerson Lawson also. Those were our guys. Those were also the guys that worked in the truck. So we didn't have a crew.
I think we're going to hear from Nikita here at ringside with JR.
Yeah. Now okay, here we go.
Nikita, we have heard the announcement about your partner, the American Dream Dusty Rhodes, suspended for 120 days. Quite obviously, that's really going to affect your plans for the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup.
It means a lot to Nikita Koloff to be in the Crockett Cup. Last year it meant a lot to Nikita Koloff to win the Crockett Cup. What you see, it don't make me feel very good. But honest,
It don't make me feel very good at all. You see, my super partner just a little while ago, he bring me into a room. He sat me down because he want to talk to me. He want to tell me what happened before I see it on TV. That's my super partner. That's what he mean to me. That's what I mean to him. And I know if I don't feel good, all these people right here don't feel good about what happened either. So you see now, Nikita Koloff have to sit down. Now I have to figure out what I'm going to do now. You see, I don't care about the money. I don't care about that. I love competition. Just like a man who get in the ring right here with me. He won the competition. He got competition from Nikita Koloff. Well, you see, I don't care who you are. I'm going to find a way. I got something going in the back that maybe I'm going to find out what's going to happen in the Crockett Cup. And I hope next week I got something to tell you before I go. I want to say something to this Gary Hart. You come out here. You come out here, Gary Hart. You run your mouth about Nikita Koloff. You run your mouth about Dusty Rhodes. It's time you shut your mouth.
Ladies and gentlemen, those comments from Nikita Koloff, and we'll have more exciting wrestling action here in the Superstation right after this.
So Tony, let's go ahead and hit pause at 25. That'll be 35-25. There it is. And we're taking this time out to tell you about something that Tony and I do every single day. Of course, we're talking about AG1. Athletic Greens is for you. If you're looking for better gut health or more energy, or maybe optimizing your immune system, or maybe you're like me and you hate pills and vitamins, but if you're going to do it, you need it to taste good. Well, this checks all those boxes. It's a special blend of ingredients to help your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, your recovery, your focus, your aging, all of the things. We're talking one delicious scoop of AG1, and that gets you 75 high quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens, everything you need to start your day right. It's lifestyle friendly. Whether you're trying to do keto or paleo or vegan, maybe you're dairy free or gluten free, this is for you. Less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals, no artificial anything, and it still tastes good. It's going to support better sleep quality and recovery, better mental clarity and alertness. Think of it as like your all-in-one nutritional insurance. And man, these folks, they're the real deal. They've got more than 7,000 5-star reviews. And right now, I think, Tony, we've got a special offer.
It's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. Just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your new. Is visit athleticgreens.com/WHW. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/WHW to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
So with that in mind, let's get back to the program here. We're at 35 minutes and 25 seconds in 3, 2, 1, play.
And we are back with the NWA World Tag Team Champions, Total Package, Lex Luger, along with Barry Windham.
Tony, I get excited out here a lot, you know? We travel a lot, but I finally got to watch a tape of one of our shows, and I noticed that a lot of times I hog the interviews, I get excited, I rip my shirt off. I don't give Barry enough time sometimes to talk, so I'm just gonna, this time, be quiet and let Barry go ahead and start out and say what he has to say. I'll start my side.
All right, Barry.
Even though we have a lot of things to talk about, like the Crockett Cup coming up.
I'll tell you what we do have to talk about is the suspension that came up with
Dusty Rhodes.
Dusty Rhodes, 120 days, or whatever kind of suspension that they've given him is far, far too stiff. I'll tell you what, Dusty Rhodes, to take something like that away from a man, to take his livelihood, to take the way that he feeds his children, and the way he pays his bills away from him, is something that should not happen to anybody, and especially the way that this happened. He just overreacted to the situation. Things got a little out of hand. Magnum TA was almost injured in the situation. This should be between Magnum and Dusty. Nobody else should have anything to do with it. Tully Blanchard's going to be dealt with by Dusty Rhodes, and I'm sure that Magnum TA has a few words for Tully Blanchard himself. Now, Lex, you say I have a few things to talk about. The Crockett Cup coming up, $1 million. $1 million that he and I would split if we were to win. He and I are going for that the same way we went for these World Tag Team Championships. Believe you me, as fired up as he is, and the way that I'm going to be in the ring, we're going to win that $1 million, split every bit of it.
Number 6 seed into the tournament, gentlemen.
Now, was I patient?
You were.
Or was I patient? But you know, the biggest event in all of professional wrestling is coming up. It is the Crockett Cup. What are we seated?
Number 6.
It doesn't matter, because right now I'm excited. The World Professional Wrestling is excited, because we are the World Tag Team Champions, so you can throw those seeds right out the window. Every team from all over the world is coming to compete. All the best tag teams. But this right here says that we are currently the best in the world. So I guess you'd have to say we're the favorites. And don't forget, I don't care if I drop my sunglasses. Karen, I'm sorry, I can't contain myself. I gotta take off my shirt. I didn't do it last week. And hit a pose right here, because Wyndham and Luger are coming wide open on the Crockett Cup. And I don't think anybody or anything can stop us. Thank you, Tony.
All right, Lex Luger. And
That's the most comfortable I've ever seen him on interviews ever.
Well, there was something funny that happened.
Hey, you're going to love what's next here. Your intro, Matt, look at this. All right, so they put an awful music dub over it because they're playing the original Midnight Rider actual song here from the Allman Brothers. But it's at a fire. There's a horse in the background, and they're out in the woods, and you see Magnum TA seated on a log talking to a man wearing a black jacket, a black shirt, a red bandana around his neck, and a black mask and a black hat. And they're talking about how Dusty's been suspended for 120 days. And he just introduced himself. My name is the Midnight Rider. I come from Diablo Canyon. Man, they're just ruining it with this dub over. But listen, when this first aired in 88, it's the Allman Brothers Midnight Rider in the background. And you see Dusty talking over a fire here with a mask and hat, and he's bringing back the Midnight Rider persona, which of course he had done in Florida, maybe a decade before, maybe not quite that, 6, 7, 8 years before. And he won the NWA World Championship. But of course, at the time, Dusty was suspended and he was not allowed to compete. So as part of the rules from the NWA, they have to know the real identity of all of their champions. So Dusty was faced with the idea, do I reveal that I'm Dusty and then get in more trouble, or just give the damn belt back? And so the Midnight Riders run didn't count, but still he's dusting off this Florida angle, bringing it to Jim Crockett Promotions. I love this bit. I think it's hilarious. It never gets old. And I just hate that we can't have the original OG music with it. So maybe we'll find it and we'll post it to social with the original music so everybody can enjoy it, where you can actually hear the shit.
Yeah. It was quite an angle. Two things. Obviously Luger and Barry and I were laughing about something, and you could see it, that we were having a good time. And I don't know what it was. For some reason, and I may be wrong because it was a long time ago, for some reason, I'm thinking we are yucking it up about Nikita's hair.
Maybe.
It could have been. And also, I had heard one time, and this is probably unfair to even say this.
Say it.
But I had heard one time that Dusty dusting off the Midnight Rider was a desperation move.
For desperation in what regard?
In other words, I had heard that he had dusted off the Midnight Rider back in Florida when things were going downhill.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
And so this is things are going downhill for the Crockett's right now, and so that's why he dusted. So that's why he went back to it.
Well, listen, I hear you, but at the same time, let me ask you this: when all of a sudden Chris Jericho starts wearing a hat and paints his face and puts spikes on his jacket and calls himself the Painmaker, is that desperation, or is he reinventing himself?
He's reinventing himself.
So that's my thing, is I feel like that's two sides of the same coin. If you're a supporter of Chris Jericho, then you say, oh, he's reinventing himself. If you're a Chris Jericho hater, you say, oh, he must be getting desperate.
Yeah.
It's a desperation move. Well, I mean, the reality is the key to success long-term in entertainment is reinventing yourself.
Of course it is. unless you're Kiss and you just paint your face and go out and have 10 farewell tours. They've been having a farewell tour since 1996, by the way.
Yep. So here we are 30 years later, still farewelling.
And it's always working. It always works. Anyway, I'm just saying that. I'm not saying that's Dusty doing that. I'm saying that's what I had heard.
Yeah. Haters.
And of course,
haters.
The haters say that. Of course they do.
Yes. I just love how comfortable Luger was in that promo, though. I mean, he comes out and even talks about, I'm not going to do this and take my shirt off and do that. And then eventually he does, drops his glasses. He was picking the belt up, putting it down. That's the most, you could tell a lot of times Luger was nervous. He was not nervous there. He was having a good time. Mike Jackson and Ken DeWindham can't get it done. Arn and Tully pick up the victory in there with Jim Ross. Let's take a listen.
You see the symbol of excellence in professional wrestling, the Four Horsemen. It's going to happen, first of all, ladies, it's Friday night, April the 22nd.
Let's not be talking about dates. Let's talk about the issue at hand. Just about the time that I think justice has finally prevailed, I've got a little confidence back in our judicial system. I have to look at this blatant miscarriage of justice, because that's exactly what it is. How can you stand out here with a straight face and look at the same monitor that I'm looking at, seeing this person called the Midnight Rider, knowing wholeheartedly that it's none other than the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, who is supposed to be under suspension for 120 days.
How do you know that?
How do I
you know
it? I'm not blind, and I spent a fortune on these glasses. That's how I know it. I know that man inside and out. And you may be an idiot, though I've always had a lot of respect for you, but I can't help but believe that any one member of the board of directors, if they sat and looked at that tape, would have to choke on their coffee because it's so obvious who it is. So if I got to get back to the boardroom, if I've got to get some copies of this videotape and send them to every member and say, take a good look at it, Dusty Rhodes went over the line. He cracked. He took a baseball bat and hit official of the NWA. That's the bottom line. Suspended for 120 days, and just about the time we're willing and ready to celebrate this moment before the champagne has even had time to get cold, I have to look at a monitor and see this Midnight Rider. Well, something is going to be done about it.
You got something to say about this? You gentlemen
I got something to say. It's more a case of mollycoddling Rhodes, and he makes too much money to be mollycoddled.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Horsemen are quite upset of the appearance of the Midnight Rider, and you'll see Sting right after we come back.
I wanted to mention the Nikita haircut when you pushed the big return and whatnot. It looks like, according to Cage Match, he had his last match with you guys on Valentine's Day, 1988, so February 14th, and he comes back on April 3rd. So he had a good 6-week layoff and rest, which was enough time to grow his hair out and I guess get off the gas. Do you think, I'm not saying this to be funny, but a lot of times we would notice guys' physique change like that when they were trying to get someone pregnant?
Exactly.
So like if it was a deal where hypothetically back in the day, Triple H always looked like a bodybuilder, and then he started showing up and looked a little less bodybuilder-esque. And then what do you know, 9 months later, he was a new dad.
Yeah.
Which is, I understand it's understandable. Do you suspect that was what was going on here?
I think now that you say it, I think that was the case. We all kind of thought back that time that he just wanted to change his look for his wife. Who of course, didn't, she passed away early.
Yeah.
She was from Alabama.
Boaz, I believe.
Yeah. Miss Alabama is what Dusty used to call her.
I ran into a guy at a gas station here not too many years ago pumping gas, and he was a big fan of the show and told me that he had been at that gas station many years ago when he met Nikita Koloff. Unfortunately, his wife had passed away at the hospital right across the street.
Wow.
So you see Sting fresh off of his star-making performance at Clash of the Champions, red tights, red paint. I'm colorblind. Is that orange or red?
That's orange that he's got on that Taz would really get pissed off about, but it's red on the other one.
Okay.
On the Destroyer, it's red.
Okay. Those are the same color to me.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? It's very, very similar. Very close.
So there you see Sting gets it done, gets a scorpion splash in the corner, a stinger splash, and then the scorpion deathlock. And that's all she wrote. Man, he's getting some air on these. Does he know it?
Wow. Yeah, it's Sting in his prime, brother.
Yeah,
I mean, it really is. It really is Sting in his prime.
His physical prime.
His physical prime.
His ring prime was probably years later.
Yeah, but he didn't have a tan. So.
Oh, I'm not talking about 97. He wasn't doing shit in 97.
Okay.
97 Sting is the greatest gig in the history of wrestling. Besides Lanny Poffo and WCW. Let's take a listen. Once again, we're interviewing a blown up Sting, just like we did 2 weeks ago.
One, it can mean the heavyweight championship of the world. Or number two, with your partner, Ron Garvin, it can mean $1 million.
Wow, that's a lot of money. Speaking about $1 million, I'll admit it. I'm the first to admit it. I'm just a little bit, maybe a lot off the wall. I can think of so many unnecessary ways to spend $1 million. Maybe I'll just buy a big party for people like this and people out there. Who knows? Ronnie Garvin. Oh yeah. Tahee, hey. You may not understand that yet, but you will. That's Ronnie Garvin language. And just like Ric Flair is styling and profiling, I'll be, catch this, howling and profiling. You see, that's a profile right there, and that's a howl right there. Rossi, $1 million. I may even feel good enough to buy J.J. Dillon a whole case of Ripple. He don't drink champagne, it's Ripple.
I'm going to ask you one question. We heard about Dusty Rhodes' suspension, 120 days. What are your thoughts on the NWA's action?
My thoughts on that are Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, handled it just perfectly. Except he didn't hurt Tully bad enough with that bat. I would have done it just the same way, definitely. So, Dusty Rhodes, if I had it to do again, I'd do it just like that. Woo! Any other questions?
No, I think you've covered them all.
Have I covered it all? Are you sure?
I think so.
You're positive?
Yes. And ladies and
well, then I'll see you later.
Okay, thank you, sir. We'll be back.
Okay, Rossi, we'll see you.
With Nature Boy Ric Flair and the man with a hand just on Ron Garvin. Don't you go away. Sting and I and Tony Schiavone will be right back.
Later.
Sting has so much personality there. It's just jumping off the page. Let's go ahead and take a timeout right now. Our last break. We'll do it at 49:18, Tony.
Okay.
There it is. We'll hit it. And of course, we should remind you that today's episode and all of our episodes are brought to you by Tony's Rock Hard Ding Dong.
Ding.
Tony has a raging erection right now. Anytime he sees Sting, he can't help himself. There was a couple lines in that promo that made him chuckle to himself. And I'm sure Tony said to himself, I can't wait until we get finished taping because I'm going to get chubbed up. I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to put on a show for my lovely bride, Lois. And we're going to put a time lapse on that. Won't take very long, but I'll stay rock hard the entire time. Thanks to our friends at Blue Chew. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredient as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. And it's not lame. It's not going to have you in 2 tubs holding hands in a field. Okay. We're going to be pumping and grinding. All right. We're going to be hanging and banging like Hulk Hogan. Take them anytime, day or night. Think of it as like a hot tag for your wiener. Here's the process, y'all. You sign up at BlueChew.com. You consult with one of their licensed medical providers. And once you're approved, you receive your prescription within days. And here's the best part. It's all online. That means no trips to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations about your wiener meat, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA. They prepare and ship directly to your door, all in a discreet package. And I think we've got a special offer to get all of our listeners ding-dongs real hard.
If you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, chew it and do it, have better sex. Our special offer is for our listeners only. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code WHW checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com. Promo code WHW to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. As we come to you from the Blue Chew studios each and every week, we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring What Happened When.
And now we're going to talk about what happened when Sting got comfortable. I mean, Luger was super comfortable during that promo. I felt like Sting was too. You can tell these guys are coming into their own. And a lot of that is because of what we're going to be seeing next. The Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Let's get back to the program here in 3, 2, 1, play.
There's your symbol, and ladies and gentlemen, the man is here. We're talking about the heavyweight champion of the world, Nature Boy Ric Flair. As you've seen in our program, a lot is going on, my good man in the NW. All right, let's take a look at it.
Let's take a look at the real world of big-time business. That's the man. Woo! There's none of this. It's just this. When you're the best, and we all know who the best is, you don't have to walk out here half naked. You stand here looking like what you are, a major executive in the biggest organization in professional sports, Jim Crockett Promotions. And the 23rd of this month, the Crockett Cup, the 22nd and the 23rd. The best wrestlers in our sport, believe me, are going to be competing for $1 million. That's my kind of prize money. That is Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup money, the biggest money in our sport. And by now, we have for sure established the supremacy of the National Wrestling Alliance. Now, Dusty Rhodes, on a very personal note, Big Dust, I've told James J. Dillon, I've told my attorneys, I've told Jim Crockett himself, you're fooling nobody, pal. And believe me, I want you out of here worse than anybody, because with you gone, I'll be number one. How about that, Tony Schiavone? You'll be distant to me. I'll be number one. Dusty Rhodes, you will be exposed. We know what you're doing, and you'll be gone. Nikita Koloff, Steve Williams, the challengers, Sting, Luger, Barry Windham, you guys are, in my estimation, the best in this sport. But to walk that out and get in the ring, woo, with the best wrestler in the world, and to think that there's any chance of victory for yourself is ludicrous. It's ridiculous. I will be your world champion. I will be the franchise until I decide to jump out of these custom-made clothes, until I decide to quit styling and profiling, until I decide to push all the women aside. And God only knows, I've got 1,000 years left in me. I'm the best there is, the National Wrestling Alliance.
And he's the one and only, the Nature Boy Ric Flair. All right, fans, go ahead.
Boy, did he nail it when he said he's got 1,000 years left in him, or what?
Oh, man. A couple of points I need to make about this show before we get too far. Sting said, tee-hee, te-hey.
Yes, and you lost it laughing.
Yes. That's, Ronnie used to say that in the ring. Tee-hee, te-hey. You know, when he would hit somebody.
Yeah.
That would just be the noise that he would make. And then a lot of times backstage, he would just use those when he would run out of words.
So are you saying like when he's going through a match and you'll throw me in the corner and then tee-hee, te-hey?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I love it.
That was Ronnie. Another point I want to make is, and I guess we're getting ready to have an interview here because that didn't last long. Another point I wanted to make was what we are seeing here and what we saw with the, I think he connected with that.
Yeah, he did. Man, he is just in incredible shape.
Yeah.
I mean, just jacked and striationed out. No, they're taking a break here. Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, what were you saying?
Another point is, I think what we saw by that board of directors meeting with the NWA run by Rob Garner.
Right.
Now let's listen to this first.
Sure.
Championship Wrestling, it's my pleasure to have Jim Crockett Jr. out here. And Mr. Crockett, we have had a lot of big news in the last hour or so, and especially surrounding the suspension of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. That has really made some repercussions that fans are going to hear around the country.
Well, the suspension of Dusty Rhodes takes effect April the 16th. His last wrestling day will be in the Boston Gardens April the 15th. And by taking effect April 16th, that sort of upsets, we only have 23 teams now for the Crockett Cup for Greenville and Greensboro. We have given Nikita Koloff the option of selecting a partner of his choice for the Cup, and he said by next week he will make that decision. But April 16th is when the suspension takes place, which means Dusty can wrestle in Boston, but all these other dates after that, he can't.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you hear from Jim Crockett Jr., Mr. Crockett. Nikita Koloff hopefully will have a decision next week. The next 7 days, that's a big decision for him. He can either get another partner and go for the $1 million one more time, or he has another big opportunity ahead of him.
Well, he said he will make that decision by next week.
Hey, wait a minute!
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir, thank you very much. And guess,
I'm
look who's
sick
here.
and tired of stuff like this. You know, I saw what Dusty Rhodes did, and we all thought he should have been suspended. He should have been stripped of the title. I was glad it happened, but then they show this Midnight Rider tape. Ray Charles knows who that is. He can see it plain as day. Well, let me tell you something. I heard that Dusty Rhodes' last night is going to be April 15th in Boston. Well, we're going to be there in the Boston Garden, and that will be Dusty Rhodes' last night on April 15th if we got anything to do about it. And then we're going to be wrestling the Fantastics that night in Boston, as we are all across the country. And let me tell you something, Fantastics, and I want you to get this through your head. It's going to be a real poppin' good time. You see, Tommy Rogers, Bobby Fulton, they've been going all around telling a tale of sorrow and woe. Tommy Rogers is heartbroken because he was laying there on the floor in Greensboro. He was beat up. He couldn't get back in the ring. He had to watch his best friend get whipped with a leather belt, brother. And Bobby Fulton, he's crying the blues, bringing a tear to a glass eye because his mother, his father, his cousins, aunts, and uncles, his whole family got together in the living room of his mama's house to watch their boy's national TV debut. And they watched him get whipped like the dog that he is right there on national TV. You know what I'd like to do, don't you? You know what I'd love to do? I'd like to get your mother, Bobby Fulton. I'd like to get your mother and stretch her out and whip that old hag. I'd like to whip your fans, Fantastics. All these idiots that love you and want to kiss on you. I'd like to whip every one of them. But we don't have time to do that. So we're going to whip you, Fantastics. Every arena all across this country, we're going to take this belt and we're going to peel a hide off your back. I'm fired up. So what you better do, Fantastics, back up the bow ties, back up the tuxedos, kiss your fans goodbye, and get the hell out of the NWA while you still can.
All right, that's quite enough from those guys. Jim Cornette, he deserves a lashing. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the ring.
What I'd like to do is stretch your mom out. I don't.
That's what he said.
Lord have mercy. I don't remember that one. I'd like to strap your fans. Okay.
That's a t-shirt. I'd like to strap your fans and stretch your mom out.
I'd like to stretch your mom out is a shirt now available at lowestrules.com.
Wow. I don't know about that.
Let me just say, I think this is one of the most fun JCP shows we've ever watched together.
Yeah, it's good. The interviews are fun. We're having a great time. Flair was great.
Lots of good storyline advancement. Yep. There's lots of fun things going on. I mean, we saw the suspension and the Midnight Rider debut, Sting coming into his own, Luger getting comfortable, good JJ promos, great Cornette promos. This is just a good show, man.
Yeah, it is. It's great. I got double underhook.
Let me say this too. I love the WWF. I grew up on the WWF. I wasn't watching this. I was watching the WWF. However, I'd be willing to bet if you went back and you watched their program from this same week and you watch this program, this is the better show to watch.
Yeah.
Oh, look at Sullivan coming right over to the podium. Just stomped a mud hole in him and walked right over.
The promos were better.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
The show was just better. It flows more. It's just a more fun show.
And we had sucky shows too. You and I have seen.
Yes. This isn't one of them.
No, and Tony Schiavone will talk to the Varsity Club right after this.
Oh, so one last break. Not for us though. We're going to hang with you. Yeah. So I guess we're going to close with, no, we got one more match, believe it or not. How about that?
Yeah. We got about 7 minutes to go. Yeah.
The way it was
2 matches. Okay.
Sullivan, I know you saw the tape of them. Okay.
Nobody understands the seriousness of this situation, except maybe James Dillon and myself. Because you see, I was there when the American Dream became the Midnight Rider for the first time. When he saddled that demon horse and rode out of Diablo Canyon. You see, I am the sole survivor. I watched night after night as the Purple Haze was carried out on a stretcher with a broken arm. Kendo Nagasaki, 3 broken vertebrae. Molokai, his wrestling career finished. Angelo Mosca, all pro in Canada, broken collarbone, career over. What we're getting to is now the dark side of Dusty Rhodes. You see, I hate everybody, but people are talking about what he did to Tully. What Dusty Rhodes did to Tully is nothing compared to the darkness of the Midnight Rider. You see, nobody is safe. I have said I don't like the Horsemen. I don't like Cornette and his group. But I'll tell you what, gentlemen, I know the seriousness of this. If we don't join and band together now, he's going to pick us off one by one by one. And believe me, it will be a worse beating than he gave Tully Blanchard.
Let's go to the ring, fans.
Lots of fun promos. Now we got Dick Murdoch, Barbarian, and the Warlord. They are your 6-man tag team champions. God dang, I'd love to have one of those belts.
Yeah, it's in San Diego. By the way, how about Kevin Sullivan bringing back the old Florida Territory stuff?
That was great.
Nagasaki. Yeah,
and he talked about, this isn't the first time we've seen the Midnight Rider. That's good stuff.
I love it. Yeah. The point I was going to make about the NWA board of directors, when Jim Crockett went nationwide on TBS, he pretty much took over the NWA.
Right.
And I think the NWA board of directors were not happy with some of the stuff he was doing because he was doing his own stuff. And so basically he told the NWA to go fuck off. And that's why we didn't see a Bob Geigel or a promoter from Florida. I know Eddie Graham was dead by this time, but all the other promoters, Jim Crockett just made his own NWA board and you saw it.
Right.
So that's you're seeing kind of the evolution or de-evolution of the NWA.
Well, I mean, the reality is Crockett had been nice and loaning talent out and sending them all over and really getting nothing in return.
Right.
He was the guy who would put all of his personal wealth on the line to get this TBS deal. And the rest of the nation, the rest of the promoters felt like, well, hey, he's got TV. He's got to let us use it. He's a part of us, but they weren't opening a checkbook. So it's like,
right.
Wait a minute now, this is not fair. And I kind of agree with I 100% agree.
Yeah. There you see how dysfunctional the old promotions were.
Yes.
They were just looking out for themselves and that was it financially and didn't give a shit about anybody else. So Jim Crockett and the Crockett family did the right thing. Fuck it. We're the NWA. We've got the national TV exposure. You don't. And again, I'm using all my money. The final thing I wanted to say, because the interview with Ric Flair made me think of this, and I think I've said this before, but it's worth repeating on this podcast, is that how honored I am to be able to be the mic man that you remember for Ric Flair.
Yeah.
That's an honor.
It is.
That's
cool.
an honor that no one else has.
Right.
And it's a big deal for me. And to be able to be at ringside in Nashville in his final match and hold the microphone for him one final time.
Wow.
I can't really, words cannot explain that feeling for me. Really. I'll remember it the rest of my life. Let's go to JR.
For $1 million, there's no second prize. It's winner take all. You've got to survive Friday night, April the 22nd in Greenville, South Carolina, to have a chance at winning $1 million. But fans, this man has twice the opportunity. Two teams in the top 10 seeds.
Well, that's right, Jim. Road Warriors, I told you I had a surprise for you. I have the #1 bounty hunter. This man, Murdoch, Dickie Murdoch, has no friends. And he's going to be in there, number 10 seed with Ivan Koloff. Number 3 seed, Powers of Pain. Road Warriors, you don't have a prayer. And Dickie Murdoch has something very fresh on his mind. And I want to welcome you back. Thank you, Paul. It's a pleasure to be back. It's a pleasure to be back. Now, furthermore, Jim Ross, let's get one thing straight. Diggy and all the boys from Amarillo Canyon, Jim and Chris are all coming to Greenville and Greensboro for this World Tag Team Championship Cup, $1 million. Can you imagine how much beer and how much fun I could have with $1 million? Everybody knows that Dick Murdoch is the best bounty hunter in the business today. But let's get one thing straight. Let's get it back down to being calm and serious. Everybody that watched that tape, that videotape, nobody knows Dusty Rhodes better than myself. I know that's Dusty Rhodes. You know that's Dusty Rhodes. Paul knows that's Dusty Rhodes. Jim Barnett knows that's Dusty Rhodes. Jim Crockett knows it's Dusty Rhodes under that Midnight Rider outfit. Well, boys, let me tell you something. You better take a deep seat and look to the moon and look over your shoulders, because Dusty Rhodes is going to clean house. And, buddy, I've got my combat boots on and my fighting gear, and I know I'm going to be ready for him. Paul, watch over your shoulder. I'll tell you one thing. I pay a lot of money, and I want the Road Warriors destroyed.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Schiavone, I'm Jim Ross. We'll see you right here next week on TBS.
Well, as we know, as we saw with that pose right there at the end, and certainly the look, when Vince McMahon was unsuccessful in landing the Road Warriors, he got the next best thing. He got the knockoff, and there it was. We got a fun fan question here. We didn't do any of those today, but this one I can't let go by. Como Joe says, I'm rewatching this episode. I didn't realize it back in the day, but Nikita could have been the voice of Cookie Monster. How great is that?
Yeah, that is great.
Cookie. Next week, Tony, we're going to be doing Nitro from the Target Center. What would have been 84-0, except the WWF ran Steve Austin and Vince McMahon, and they promoted it for 2 straight hours. What we'll be watching instead is Scott Steiner versus Fit Finlay. Bret Hart all over the show. Roddy Piper announcing Kevin Nash is going to take on Hollywood Hogan, and Sting is going to challenge Nash instead. We'll also see Lex versus Buff. Goldberg goes for 72-0, and so much more. If you enjoyed our trip down memory lane today for Jim Crockett Promotions, I really encourage you, go out of your way to check out the book over on Ad Free Shows. We just recently dropped our March episode from March of 85. It is available now. April of 85, right around the corner. Of course, March of 85 is when they sort of accidentally, maybe inadvertently, helped fund WrestleMania by buying back the very TBS time slot we just watched and enjoyed. At the same time, though, they're back on TBS and their business starts booming. All the intricate details of how that deal came together, their financing, their relationship and discussion and back and forth with Vince McMahon, what Linda's involvement was, who was the broker, who played the middleman, all of that and more. It's all discussed in the book, available now at adfreeshows.com. And what we're doing is we're breaking it down page by page, show by show, day by day, gate by gate, all the details of the wrestling business. And this is from the excellent penmanship of J.J. Dillon, from the genius mind of Dusty Rhodes, and from the personal collection. These are Jim Crockett Jr.'s Red Books, his books that tell the story of JCP. And we go through it with his brother David, who we just have so much fun with. By the way, why not do a free trial on us? If you haven't tried adfreeshows.com yet, I encourage you to do so. The first week is free at adfreeshows.com. You get all this great bonus content, and in fact, more than a dozen of your favorite podcasts, early and ad-free. You can even be a part of our live studio audience. It starts at just $9 a month. And before we get out of here, I want to mention, if your business is targeting men that are 25 to 54 years old, buddy, there's no better place to advertise than right here on What Happened When. Tony and I will yuck it up and have a good time with your product if we like it. And here's the thing. You've heard us do ads for some of the same companies year after year after year for 6 years now. You know why it works? That's why. It really works. There's very little waste. If you're looking for those dudes, we got them. Find out how easy it is and how affordable it is to advertise over at advertisewithwhw.com. Love to have your support on our YouTube too. We're having a lot of fun over there. We're going to start doing some different things and some bonus content. It's WHW on YouTube.com. Be sure to not only check it out, but hit the subscribe button for us. It would mean a lot to us. Love to have your follow and interaction on social as well. At WHW Monday on Twitter and Facebook, at WHW Podcast on Instagram. And don't forget to throw us a 5-star rating if you think we've earned it. Hit that subscribe button. And if you really dig the show, man, the best way to support it, buy some swag, sport it to your wrestling events. It's all available at lowestrules.com. Lots of fun stuff over there. I mean, silly stuff. Go see for yourself. LoisRules.com. But Tony, right now, it looks like it's about that time.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're at the end of our fashion show here at boxofgimmicks.com. As you can see, many of our models have been modeling the many different T-shirts that's available for you. As you can see right now, Cassio Kid is modeling the Lois Rules T-shirt. Very, very nice color, harking back to the days of Hulkamania. Now, taking off his jacket and modeling I will Stretch Your Mom Out T-shirt is Dave Silva. And yes, that is available in our favorite color, black, but the 3-inch belly sticking out below the T-shirt is not available. That's because we're desperately out of time. We'll see you next week on What Happened When. We come to you Wednesdays on Westwood One Cumulus, but Mondays we come to you ad-free exclusively on
Patreon. Patreon.com/WHW Monday. And of course, adfreeshows.com.
Hey guys, Double J, Jeff Jarrett. Need to call a timeout real quick here. I wanted to tell your listeners what I've been telling my world listeners for a while now. It's about all the incredible things happening over on adfreeshows.com.
The wait is over, as an all-new Conversations with Conrad is finally here. He created the soundtrack to so many of our childhood memories, with iconic themes like The Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Ultimate Warrior, and many more. The legendary Jim Johnston sits down with Conrad for a 2-hour career retrospective. Available now only on adfreeshows.com.
Literally started, I was watching some tape of the guy, and I just started doing this to the kind of what I felt like was the tempo of him running. And then I recorded that. And then just over that, you're just doing. You know, it's so simple, but that's what felt like him.
Hey, that's just a small taste of what Ad Free Shows has waiting for you, including a brand new perk, getting to join in on the live recordings of the shows with 4 levels to choose from. See for yourself why Ad Free Shows is the best value in wrestling today. Sign up now at adfreeshows.com. That's right, sign up today at adfreeshows.com.